This is Stock Day. News and interviews from the microcap world. Public information on the OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. With your host, Everett Jolly.
On today's show, we have a very exciting guest. It's Jan Telander. He's the CEO of ProGreen Properties, trading under the ticker symbol PGEI. They are a fully reporting company on the OTC. Jan, thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. It's nice to be here.
You know, tell us a little bit about ProGreen Properties. I know that you're in the process of changing a lot of things from last year, and so bring us up to speed about the background of the business and give us a little history of yourself and the company.
Yeah, I am actually from Swedish from the beginning, but I lived most of my life in southern Spain, where I was a property developer for about 38 years. So my background is definitely real estate, and ProGreen has been engaged in refurbishing existing property into more modern, comfortable homes and leasing them to people, managing and selling them to investors, managing for these investors, and so forth. And that has been going for a few years, even though we've gone through some rough patches and it hasn't really reached the size that we would have wanted to do to make the company profitable, which is the reason that we are started to change the way we're going forward now this year, and we're starting to make some dramatic changes there.
Are you currently engaging is your business currently engaging in the Michigan area? Because, you know, I follow the Michigan real estate, and correct me if I'm wrong, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, you could pick up some abandoned houses out there anywhere from $4,000 to $12,000 a piece.
Absolutely right, and that was the whole reason I came here, because I saw that opportunity. However, we were not able to raise enough cash to really make that big indentation, if you like, into the market to really capitalize on that opportunity at that time. Because no question about that, Michigan has been and continues to be an extremely exciting marketplace for the real estate here. Now even more so with the growth and turnaround of the city of Detroit, which I think still holds a great potential for real estate here in the future. So most definitely, but we, as I said, we did not actually manage to do what we would have wanted to do through the lack of that size of funds at that time when really the opportunities were there.
You know, regulations has changed a lot for our industry. As you know now, it's a game changer with the Reg A+. It's easier to raise money. Are you guys looking to do a 506C or anything like that? Can you bring our listeners up to speed with that?
Probably not, actually, because we have just gotten out of some less than perfect debt we had with convertibles, and we do not really wish to come into that. And to any other funding of a direct share funding, we still see our share price far too low to do that. So we are not really in really big need of cash right now. We have had our close shareholders put new cash into the company and getting rid of, as well as getting rid of the debt that we've had. So because of the previous funding we had with convertibles, as I said, which really puts a lid on ever building a share price for a small company.
Absolutely.
And we are now in the situation that we have actually got rid of all of those. That is, that we haven't got any convertible debt whatsoever outstanding, and we have through that reduced our liability or our debt on the balance sheet from, I think it was close to $1.5 million now, and we are literally down to a non-convertible debt of $200,000, which will really come out of one of the properties that when we're selling that's going to be paid off. So we are in a very, very different situation from that perspective than we were only a few months ago, quite frankly.
Absolutely. So what you're telling my listeners is that we have no toxic debt on the book.
We have no toxic debt at all. We came out with a press release, actually, I think it was March 31, to that effect, to really publicize that situation.
Outstanding.
So we have no toxic debt at all. We haven't got any convertible debt whatsoever, or any bad debts whatsoever at all.
My guest today is Jan Telander. He is the CEO of ProGreen Properties under the ticker symbol PGEI. They are a full reporting company. Jan, tell us recently, I know that like you were telling my listeners that you guys have really got rid of the bad debt, the convertibles and everything. So what changes are we going to be making for a new business plan, and where you see yourself, 6 months to 18 months out from here?
Yeah, well, as I said, our background, our beginning of this was really that we wanted to capitalize on the local market. We are here in Oakland County. That's all the properties we have now here in Oakland County, which is a good area here. But we find that I think that the business going forward is not really that attractive as it would have been if we would have been able to put really big cash into this 5 years ago, which we were not able to. And now that real opportunity is less of an opportunity than it was then. And so we have been looking at different opportunities lately, how to gear the company towards. And we came to a decision towards the end of last year to change direction in a pretty dramatically. So what we have done recently in the beginning of this year is that, first of all, we have gotten rid of the debt, as I've told you previously here. But we also added by doing this, we're cleaning up our balance sheet. We have added assets to our balance sheet. We've recently bought 14 properties out of a Swedish investment company. I have properties here in Oakland County, and we bought it from straight equity in the way that we're giving them preferred stock that's going to be converted in a year's time at market price then. So it's an extremely attractive situation for our company because we're bringing those assets in, which are about $1.25 million of clean assets coming into our balance, or already in our balance sheet. That deal was closed on the 8th of March this year. We've also looked into other opportunities of going elsewhere with the company. And as my background is property developments, and I was myself contacted towards the end of last year from a Mexican big landowner who really wanted a partner up with somebody with skills and access to investment funds to be able to develop and do something with all these masses of land that this family owns and have owned for a tremendous long time. And we have now started that process up, and we signed the first joint venture agreement with them in February for a tract of land of about 130 hectares, which is 300 acres more or less, out of which maybe a third to 40% of it is useful farming land. And we are right now developing that land in with a view to either selling the land or leasing the land to farming companies. And this is in Baja California, and the whole produce from there goes to the U.S. market. So when we say we're talking to farmers in Mexico, it's really people that are backed by U.S. companies or importers of vegetables and fruits, whatever they're going to grow on this.
I see.
And we are going further on with this. So we have other land as well in this massive amount of land that we've done this deal with, or doing this deal with this group. So that will include as well developments, but that's at a later stage. The first phases here is really based on agricultural land, which will create, hopefully, what we're looking for, a good flow of income to the company, as we really intend to lease the land out to these farmers. I mean, you do this on like 8 to 10 year leases, so they're very long-term leases, but they're given tremendous return, much more than we can do actually in the property market. So that's really a direction we have gone. And the other thing is that we are looking at other areas in this country, and we are now particularly looking at Oklahoma, where we are partnering up with a local builder to hopefully we go it all right, that we are going to try to do a subdivision there where we're going to have all the houses self-contained as far as energy is concerned, together with solar panels or solar roofing, really, which we do in conjunction with a company called Uptick Energy, which I was one of the founders in Sweden, together with my nephew, who's now the CEO of that company. They have a technology that now is ready to be used in the American market, and we really like to create a living space for people where they do not really need to be hooked up to any electric company or gas company whatsoever in order to live comfortably in their houses and never receive a bill. So we think that's going to be a huge thing for us.
Outstanding. My guest today is Jan Telander. He is the CEO of ProGreen Properties under the ticker symbol PGEI. Now, I was currently looking at your market cap, and please, Jan, correct me if I'm wrong. Your market cap's only around 1.7, 1.8 million. That seems pretty low for a company that did have revenues for 2015. You have assets on the books, and your stock price is only trading around a half a penny. Seems like you guys are very undervalued.
Well, you're absolutely right, and we're working on that. But if I could put it in perspective for you, in January, the whole company had a market value, I think we're down to $56,000. Because we did have that tremendous overhang with our convertibles, the toxic debt that we had at the time, and the stock was shorted to death, and we had very little good news to come out with to the marketplace at that time. So if you put it from that perspective, we have had a tremendous development in the last two months here in the stock price, and now we're looking for the future really in a different way because of that elimination of toxic debt and the rollout of our new business plan, really, which has tremendous potential in the long term. And I think that we are, even though we are definitely undervalued, as you see, we are very hopeful that that valuation is going to be rising here, both in a sustained way, in a fairly fast way, but even more so in a curve that's going to be rising for many months to come here.
In closing, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't discussed to get that out to our listeners? Maybe give us a future outlook for 2016 in closing here.
Yeah, without saying too much, because obviously I cannot really give any projections here, which we are not making public elsewhere.
Right.
So I would just like to say that we are now in a position there where we're talking about tremendous amount of land in Mexico, which we are getting hold of through our joint venture, literally at pennies to the dollar, what it would be worth, simply because we are helping the landowner to get some cash out of the land himself. He's not able to do this. Every piece of land has some trouble. I mean, that's just the way it is. But for me, this is very exciting because having lived in Spain for so long, being involved in property developments there, Mexico has identical laws, identical words to what I'm used to in the property market in Spain. So coming in there and changing the system or looking into the system in Mexico, for me, was just like going back when I started off in Spain. So we see a tremendous possibility in our dealings in Mexico, and that's very long term. I mean, you're talking maybe up to 15, 20 years ahead because it's so massive. So it's something the company will be involved in for a very long time. And also the other things that I said with self-sustained energy,
absolutely,
energy properties will have a tremendous way forward for us, which we look really very positively towards.
Jan Telander has been our guest today. He is the CEO of ProGreen Properties, trading on the OTC under the ticker symbol PGEI. Jan, thank you very much for coming on the show, and we'll touch back with you in a couple of months. And good luck with everything, and congratulations on cleaning up the balance sheet. I know that's very important.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for having me.